Tempo said.
All right, well, in the top right corner, representing Storm Gaming, he is the Orange Zerg player, EnDerr.
Also representing Storm Gaming in the top left corner, this is EnDerr.
This is going to be a fun one to cast, Cybert.
At least once, I expect
ZVZ
to get
mirror
their,
matchup.
At least once I expect to get their like upgrades or their supply mixed up. I'm going to say it wrong, I just know it.
I can't really blame you, though. Definitely one of those situations where it's funny when the two teammates end up in the same matchup, they play the same race, and they have very similar names. Not something that you usually see, especially in a league format, you know? Like, maybe if they are spamming ladder and they eventually run into each other, but to be in the same group and then end up in the same winners match, it's pretty interesting.
They're going to pass overlords in the kind of middle between the bases. So they're going to know exactly what the spawn positions are. We got the 15 pool going to be coming out from EndOfLine. I guess it's going to be the 15 hatch coming out from EnDerr.
Yep. So, just playing it a bit safe as EndOfLine doing here, getting that pool out first. As he doesn't want to get rushed out too easily. They did spawn in the horizontal position, so it is not that long of a distance to get over there. And will the gas be taken for EndOfLine? We already see it coming out here for EnDerr, going for that hatch gas pool, while EndOfLine seems to not really be looking like he wants to get the gas just yet, but it doesn't mean that he won't get it. I think that of all the maps in the pool, this is definitely one of them that is good for at least going for gasless if you would like to. Getting that creep tumor out really fast at the natural. You still can wall off in time, I believe, but it does seem a little bit far from the ramp. And there's also the little debris, I guess, of rocks. But hey, I don't know. Let's see how it turns out. We haven't seen these players in the ZVZ matchup yet. They both seem to be a little bit more conservative in their early game in the ZVP matchup.
Again, still none of those gases taken like you were talking about. Certainly delayed for now. I guess he's going to be playing gasless for the current moment. You did mention one of these players actually has, or at least in between games you did mention, one of these players has a 6 ZVZ rate.
Yeah, EnDerr, I believe he has a 75% ZVZ rate on the ladder. And EndOfLine is actually, not as, right at that 50% mark, I believe it was. He wins some, he loses some, you know? Hey, it is what it is. Blizzard matchmaking working, 50%, right?
Something like that.
So.
It's always interesting when players feel like it may be a matchup that they don't win very much on ladder. Maybe they feel like that is their best matchup, though. Or maybe a matchup that they actually do win on ladder quite a bit. They still feel like it's their worst matchup. So potentially going into this, EnDerr might be the more confident one. But EndOfLine, as we saw, and I know you gasped a little bit earlier as he was hunting down that Overlord. Almost got it. Didn't quite manage to get the kill. But
really close there, and ZVZ in these positions is pretty fun too, depending on how it does go. I don't think we are going to see the crazy Ling Bling wars in the middle of the map and then seeing that kind of tug of war, only because EndOfLine did take that gas really late. He's only just now starting to mine from it, but EnDerr pulled out of gas. I don't know if he was able to scout. I think he did. Notices that there is no gas here, and he is going to use that opportunity to make a bunch of Lings to get some damage done. Comes the wall right in time.
Ooh, very nice with the 3 queens now going to be blocking. Of course, transfuses may become available in a couple of seconds here. The first one does go down right there. More Lings going to be flooding. And the Roach Warren's still 20 seconds away. Queen number 1 will fall, but now it's 4 Lings joining in the defense for EndOfLine.
Yep, and he is going to hold. Looks like it. Are there more Lings coming out? No. Just a bunch of drones and a third base coming. So EnDerr trying to take advantage of that gasless opening before he was able to get that kind of defense up. Sometimes you can catch a gasless player going for that defense, and then they just miss their wall, and those Lings cause a lot more trouble. But no, that was really nicely done from EndOfLine. Perfect timing. Now EnDerr is going to have to kind of do something in order to bring himself back into this game. Not saying that he's out of the game, just to kind of, I guess, make up for that kind of wasted minerals and supply and just larva. More lings.
Along with that third base from EnDerr, we got that layer, additional Roach Warren, and then the Evo Chamber going to be coming in. So third base has been spotted by EndOfLine. He's going to know exactly what's going on. He goes to take his own third hatch at the same time.
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and get it. I like the fact that he is going for that speed. Gasless, you usually assume that they're not going to, but all of those lings that he did make, hoping to catch EnDerr off guard, maybe catch him droning. But EnDerr was able to clean it on up, and now he has a lot of lings on the map. The worker count is dead even. And here comes the next phase of this matchup, which is going to be those roaches. +1 upgrade coming for EndOfLine. But he doesn't quite have his lair yet, so he can't get the speed. And he has to make that choice if he wants to get the speed or the +1 armor. Now he can get both, I believe. Almost. Almost, but just not quite yet.
Nice cancel on that third base. Surround of the Queen as well. Of course, EnDerr is going to be trading out a couple of lings for that, but denying that third, killing a Queen, that's a nice bit of damage. He's even going to sneak in a little bit. Of course, these are not necessarily damage-dealing lings, but these are, what exactly are you doing, lings?
Yeah, he wants to know what is going on. Are you going Muta behind that? You show the Roach Warren at the front, but then you just make a bunch of Mutas anyway. But nope, nothing's being hidden here for EndOfLine. And EnDerr can be pretty confident right now. He has his third up. He has his Roaches out as well. His upgrades are actually ahead in both ways. But here goes EndOfLine trying to get a bit of damage on that third, maybe saving it for an attack later. But EnDerr, he's holding pretty nicely here. Taking that supply lead, which is slightly inflated by some Roaches. Lings do get into the main. They might get this Queen. And
that'll certainly
is going to go down.
Certainly annoying to deal with for EnDerr. He's finally chasing around these last couple of lings, trying to hunt them down. Now, the third did have another swing by of lings from EndOfLine, but they were met by those roaches. So for now, the hatchery will stand. EndOfLine on the other half of the map, not going to be getting his third established just yet. Of course, it's going to be finishing up in a couple of moments, but it's not quite ready yet.
It does hurt right now, and EnDerr might even hit with the +1 with speed timing. Oh, if he cancels his third right here,
again,
that is a game-winning blow. ZVZ is all about that third base, and now he's going to get it. Oh, he cancels it? Because he has to. He feels it, and he loses the Spine Crawler. EndOfLine is in a world of hurt right now.
So much invested into what could have been more units instead, and as you said, he had to get that third base at some point, and having it canceled twice will certainly be hurting him in the next couple of moments.
Yeah, and I like that he didn't attack into the natural, because why should he? He droned up a bit more. EnDerr up to 58 workers to the 49 of EndOfLine, who isn't even sitting on a third base. So it's up to EndOfLine to make something happen. EnDerr can sit there all day, and he's just going to continue to get further and further ahead. And EndOfLine is kind of in the situation where he's like, I don't know what to do, man. Even having a Contaminate on his lair, delaying that larva production.
Adding insult to injury, as they say.
It really is insult to injury. As if I needed this, really. Please,
like you're far enough ahead. You've got the third base. We're teammates.
He's like about to lap him right now, you know, and run backwards instead.
Exactly. Like a racing game. You didn't realize it, but this isn't StarCraft. This is Star Racer. Even scouting the map, EnDerr is like, all right, I need to make sure that you got nothing hidden going on, nothing sneaky. These lings, they're making a pattern around the map. And so from here, EnDerr, is he looking for a fourth base, or is he looking for a big attack and just overwhelm?
It's looking like he wants to overwhelm at this point. He's going to have more units. At the end of the day, he's just going to have more. EndOfLine, I like his approach here. Going into the Roaches and adding the Hydras here. If he just went into Roaches, he's never going to outproduce in just pure Roach. It's just not going to happen. So using those Hydras, and if he protects them, this is the way that he's going to try to get back in here. Unfortunately for him, it's not like he's going to be at an upgrade lead by any means. +2 and +1 armor is going to finish it for EnDerr, when only +2 attack is going to finish for EndOfLine. And the surround, Hydras are not going to be protected. Speaking of that, remember, protect your Hydras, friend, not when they come from both sides. That'll make the Roaches even better at dealing with an army such as that of EndOfLine. And that is all she wrote. Cybert. After
Yeah.
5, what is it, 6? Wow, how many? Yeah, 6 like 20+ minute games.
Uh-huh.
As you see what I'm laughing at, you are my Hans Brolo. But it is going to be game number 2 here on Echo, and representing Storm Gaming in the bottom right corner, it is EnDerr. Hans Brolo. I know I said Hans like it was
like it's German or something.
yeah, Hans.
But in the top left side, representing Storm as well, we do have EndOfLine.
And I've just received a little tidbit of information here that EndOfLine is actually the captain of Storm Gaming, so...
Oh.
You know, it's a little bit of a case of when maybe senseiing Grasshopper and Grasshopper showing Sensei that his teachings are very valuable.
Either that, or in a minute, EnDerr is no longer going to be on Storm Gaming.
Yeah.
Just gets kicked.
Because look at this.
He's like, alright, you killed me in a tournament.
We're seeing here.
Oh, 14 gas, 14 pool?
I think so. Yep. But EnDerr opening up a bit safer this time with that 14 pool, or the 15 pool. Which is a little bit safer, but no gas means that you really have to rely on the queens and also getting the spine crawler. So it's all about just making a bunch of queens and hopefully getting a spine crawler up is the best way to deal with the 14-14. You know, you don't want to try to get gas right now and then outproduce them in banelings and whatnot, but just have a better drone economy, have the hatchery as your advantage, and then just hold with a bunch of queens while keeping them all alive.
So first couple of lings going to be coming out from both players.
Yeah.
So the expansion going to be, of course, a lot later, as you were saying. The hatchery advantage will be going to EnDerr quite a bit earlier. And so I guess he smells this out. He's getting, well, now 2 spine crawlers in his main.
Yep. Does he know about the hatchery, though? I don't think he knows about the hatchery, so... Yeah, he sees that the pool is already done, and that it is researching speed. What he's going to want to try to do is check the gas and see what is mining on it. He pulled 2 out of gas here, so it's not going to be like an all-in 14-14 with lings and banes. And he put down the hatchery as well, so maybe he just goes in for some light pressure and doesn't actually overcommit to it, you know? Making EnDerr overreact, perhaps.
EndOfLine adds on 10 additional Zerglings to pump out onto the map. Should bring his total up to, well, I guess it's going to be 12. And another... Wait a second. Okay, so the 2 spine crawlers in the main, one of them was canceled, and then there's an additional spine crawler at the natural. So not committing super hard to the defense, but certainly 2 spine crawlers this early on is way more than you would expect.
Yeah, I think when he saw the hatchery from EndOfLine, he was like, alright, you're not going full in on me here, and if he saw that gas as well, he can know that the banelings aren't going to be in a ridiculous amount, if they were to be. But here come the lings into the natural here, and with the queen defense, double spine crawler, just... Oh, he didn't actually, yeah. I thought he actually didn't have 2, period, just had 1.
The second one
maybe
up
not, he's just going full defense. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have a pretty nice defensive
Yeah.
position. You mentioned the banelings going to be coming in. The baneling nest did just finish up. In this particular case, there aren't many banelings being morphed in just yet. All of those lings from the initial attack went down, though, so it's definitely not good.
Yep. No, not at all, especially because he did get his hatchery a little bit later.
This Overlord could be getting sniped right now. EndOfLine.
Oh, supply block.
That's pretty...
Yeah.
That's a pretty nice supply block as well.
I would say so, too. I mean, he's down in drones. He can't do anything right now, and EnDerr is just going to be chilling. He's feeling pretty damn good, I would say. He already got 3 gases. Is he going to drop down a Roach Warren with it? Yep, he will. So double upgrade with the Roach Warren, and if he's feeling confident, he might even just go for that lair straight up. Right there. So this is a beautiful position here.
Very awkward position for EndOfLine. He got unsupply blocked with the one Overlord, and then he didn't realize, oh, I need a second Overlord as well. So
to actually produce, yep.
Yep. Definitely very awkward, unfortunate situation for EnDofLine. He wasn't doing too hot, and then he ran into that problem as well. For now, EnDerr looks like he's going to be securing that third hatch as the Spine Crawlers reposition. The Lings will actually spot this from EnDofLine. And for me, not being a Zerg player, I think... when I see something like this, I think that the other guy is like, all right, I got a clock on me. But is this kind of the next point for EnDofLine? Is he like, I need to kill this?
It's like he wants to, but he's going to really find difficulty doing so. Roach production is going to start here for EnDerr, and the roach speed is not even done here for EnDofLine, so we can't pressure it with roaches just yet. If he gets his queen, maybe so, but a transfuse, he won't be able to. And it's one of those feelings where you're just like, you're behind a glass door and you know you're seeing something on the other side and it's like, don't do it, but they can't hear you because it's soundproofed and you just can't do anything about it.
You have to just watch
on the other side, kind of helpless. You know, you really want to help and do something, but in this case, he doesn't want to help. He wants to destroy that base, do the best that he can, but he just can't get on the other side as he just doesn't have anything to actually pressure it with. He tried it with the Lings, his road speed. If he goes across the map and gets caught, because EnDerr already has road speed, he loses every single one of his roaches. So he's just going to try to play from behind as he's getting his third base up. But surprisingly enough, EnDofLine has got up in the drone count at this point. And they're both going for the roaches. +1 with roaches.
EnDerr adding on some
speed is actually already done, so.
EnDerr adding on a serious number of Overlords and then a pretty healthy number of drones as well. We'll be pushing pretty far ahead, beefing up the roach numbers as well. Third, of course, going to be heavily delayed for EnDofLine in comparison to... I mean, EnDofLine's third just finished up, and already it's almost saturated for EnDerr.
Yeah. It's one of those situations here, too, where you can make a decision whether you want to just continue to produce roaches, right? You just get your third base, and you don't even drone up your third, and then you try to kill your opponent who's droning. But with 2 Spine Crawlers here as well, and even really good Overlord placement, it's still going to be really hard to do this with that cooling tower down, you know? That buys you more time to make even more roaches to defend. And then during all of that, your drones are getting you that advantage. But, he's just going to go for it, attacking away from his Spine Crawlers. Don't know if he needs to do that.
EnDofLine technically down about 3 roaches in solid numbers. He does have a couple of Banelings, which... in the past, we've seen Banelings be a difference in mass roach wars, but I don't know if 2 will be actually enough to make a difference in this case. 12 more roaches adding on for EnDofLine, so he's swelling up those roach numbers quite a bit.
Yeah, he's going to continue to make them, and you know, he actually got up to a decent drone count as well, but EnDerr is just pushing that envelope even more. He's like, oh, you're going to go up to 55? I'm going to go up to 65, and now he's at 67 to 57. And he has defender's advantage. So, interestingly enough, he is doing something that, like, I've seen Snoot do a bit more, getting infestors. And I guess on a map like this, it's pretty good if they do attack up into your third, or you attack up there and bait him down. But I've seen it also fall on its face because of the investment you put into infestors and the fact that they're just not the same as they used to be back in their golden era. And the roach numbers kind of overwhelmed. So you really have to work on that positioning and catching your opponent's roaches when they try to go up like a choke or something.
He's going to be up nearly 20 roaches. So as you say, these fungals from EnDofLine is going to be up about 20 roaches. So EnDerr is going to need some pretty serious fungals. Hive also going to be kicking up. Now we did see the +2 attack finish up a couple of moments ago for EnDerr. So potentially Hive being added on for those upgrades, or is he looking for Vipers for Blinding Cloud?
Yeah, I'm wondering actually. Sometimes you get to the stage in ZVZ, like after everything is going on, like they're constantly trading roaches, but surprisingly enough, they haven't been doing any timings. You know, like +2, go and see and test. It's just been like it's kind of been like a tech. Roach Hydra coming out of EnDofLine, which in the end usually is better than Roach Infestor only. But when it comes to Roach Hydra Infestor, it's a whole other story. This is a very defensive posture from EnDerr. as he is hanging out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spine crawlers spreading all out. And he's going to try to catch these units when they come down that ramp with a sick concave.
And there's the step forward EnDofLine. He does get fungled a little bit here, and this is a weird engagement, a very wide engagement, as EnDofLine starting to crush through. He does have those superior numbers, but can he actually make it work? A lot of these roaches are bruised, but again, those infestors not doing much after that first couple of seconds.
Exactly. He wanted to get them when they came down the ramp, and he was expecting them to come on the right side, and EnDofLine comes on the left side. And with the sheer numbers, can he do it? This is a really nice position here for EnDerr, as he's going to kind of force back EnDofLine. Supply lead does go to EnDofLine for now, and he does have a better army supply just because of that lower drone count.
Ooh,
can he actually break EnDerr here?
I think with the reinforcements, he might be able to, but EnDofLine may have stuck around a little bit too long, because once those scales tipped, he needed to get out of there and meet up with his, 20-something roach reinforcement train. He didn't. He just sort of stuck around, and maybe that was a bit too much. The 4th base has now been finished for EnDerr, so he's got that going for him. EnDofLine, on the other hand, doesn't have that 4th base anywhere near complete.
No, and he just started it, and very important thing here is that I don't know how many of the infestors survived. 3 went down, but he still has 2. Anytime you go for that, you want to retain the infestors. But he did lose 3 of them. But they're both going for Roach Hydra. And with that hive up for EnDerr, he can go into +3 attack. There's no other road for EnDerr to really go, EnDofLine to go down, except for maybe adding infestors of his own. But now, +3, adding more infestors. He could get Vipers, like you say. Vipers are actually really great in these kind of situations, too. Especially when you invest in the infestors, too.
EnDofLine, he's stepping forward. He gets a massive fungal, as he does lose a lot of health on those roaches, but they're still alive, and that's the important part. There were a lot of spine crawlers that were under construction for EnDerr that were shut down initially, and I think EnDerr has just the defensive posture. There's not a huge amount on the reinforcement train for EnDofLine.
And, he just keeps on trying and trying, and since he didn't break it, he's only reinforcing with roaches. There's still quite a few Hydras here for EnDerr, and he is getting +3. His army supply is starting to really show. His economy is starting to pay in dividends as that 4th base is up, mining fully on the minerals as well. Like, this is one of those situations for EnDofLine where he's like, damn, I really thought I could break him, especially when he was teching to infestors. I checked when they're most vulnerable. And it's not even like the fungals were that great either, right? So, it's kind of disheartening when you don't actually get that damage. Yep, he almost did. It was really close. And,
a couple of roaches.
So, EnDofLine doing what he can best. But look at the defensive posture. We keep bringing this up. Oh, Cybert. Like,
wow.
Fungals, spine crawlers, doesn't even need to use any units.
It's just a shutdown. Every offensive move that EnDofLine has made after that first big attack has just been completely met by nearly immaculate defense. EnDofLine has, EnDerr has misstepped a couple times, but after that first attack, it's been really solid play. Coming into this 4th base, can EnDofLine actually hold it? There's the fungals once again going down, hitting a lot of these Hydras. And does he have the numbers to actually hold this off? Once again, fungals impacting, allowing EnDerr to crush through this army.
And GG well played will be called.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.